You don't make a woman miss you by disappearing. You make her miss you by becoming a man she can't forget, even when you're gone. When someone pulls away from you, your first instinct might be to chase, to prove your worth, to fix what's broken, to make them see your value. You feel that rush of anxiety, that deep fear of losing what you once had, and it makes you want to do something, anything, to bring them back. But here's the truth most people never realize. The more you chase, the more you confirm that you've lost control. You're not trying to win their love. You're trying to escape your own insecurity. And in that chase, you forget something far more important. You forget yourself. Real strength doesn't come from convincing someone to stay. It comes from becoming someone you don't have to convince anyone to love. When you stop chasing, you stop operating from fear. You stop measuring your worth by how someone else responds to you. You stop checking your phone for their message, wondering what they're doing, replaying every conversation in your head, trying to figure out what went wrong. Instead, you shift your focus from them to you. You begin to ask the real questions. Who am I becoming through this pain? What is this silence teaching me? What can I build, create, or learn now that I'm not pouring all my energy into trying to be enough for someone else? That's when real transformation begins, when your pain stops being a punishment and starts becoming your training ground. The truth is, people are drawn to those who are already full, not those who are waiting to be filled. When you chase someone, you're showing them that you've placed your happiness in their hands, and that's a heavy burden for anyone to carry. But when you start becoming, you take that power back. You start living in a way that says, I am whole even without you. You begin to radiate a calm confidence that doesn't need validation. And ironically, that's when people start noticing you again because you've stopped needing them to. You're no longer operating out of desperation. You're operating out of purpose. You're no longer seeking connection to feel complete. You're connecting from a place of completeness. When you stop chasing, you start becoming someone of depth, discipline, and peace. You stop trying to prove your worth and instead begin to live it. You focus on building your mind, strengthening your boundaries, improving your health, mastering your craft, and nurturing your inner world. You pour into yourself the same energy you once poured into trying to win someone's affection. Every hour you spend becoming better is an hour spent reclaiming your power. You begin to realize that your time, attention, and love are sacred, and not everyone deserves access to them. The person who left doesn't define your value. Your response to their absence does. This mindset shift is not about ego or pretending not to care. It's about understanding energy. When you chase, you're moving towards something that's running away, and that dynamic will always drain you. But when you redirect that energy inward, everything changes. You become magnetic in silence, powerful in restraint, attractive in your calm. People feel your shift even when you say nothing, because energy doesn't lie. It's not about playing games or trying to manipulate outcomes. It's about transforming yourself so deeply that what once attracted chaos no longer appeals to you. You stop chasing because you've outgrown the need to. You start becoming because you finally understand that everything you were chasing after was supposed to be built within you first. There comes a moment in every person's life when emotions run so high that they almost take over, when someone says something that cuts deep, when rejection feels personal, when silence feels unbearable. In those moments, it's easy to lose yourself. You want to react, you want to respond immediately, you want to prove a point or defend your worth. But that's exactly where most people lose their power, in the instant they let emotions dictate their behavior. Emotional control isn't about being cold or detached. It's about being aware of your feelings without letting them drive your decisions. It's about mastering the art of stillness when your world feels like it's spinning out of control. Because the truth is, people who can control their emotions are people who can control outcomes. When you lose emotional control, you hand your power to the very person who triggered you. You become predictable, reactive, and easily manipulated. The moment someone realizes they can get a reaction out of you, they know how to control you. And that's why emotional discipline is not just a personality trait. It's a form of protection. It guards your peace, your reputation, and your dignity. Every time you hold back from reacting out of anger or desperation, you're quietly proving your strength. Every time you stay calm while someone else tries to provoke you, you're showing them you've grown past the need to prove your worth through words. Because emotional control doesn't come from indifference, it comes from deep self-awareness. You've learned that not every situation deserves a reaction, and not every person deserves access to your emotional world. It's not easy, though. Controlling your emotions requires training. It demands patience, introspection, and self-respect. When you feel hurt, your instinct is to defend yourself, to correct misunderstandings, to show that you care. But emotional control means choosing silence over chaos. It means taking a step back, breathing deeply, and asking yourself, what outcome do I really want here? Often you'll realize that reacting only feeds the problem. You can't force understanding in someone who's determined to misunderstand you. You can't win peace through arguments. What you can do, however, is protect your peace by refusing to let anyone pull you out of your calm. True power lies in the ability to stay grounded in a storm. When you practice emotional control, you start to notice how much lighter life becomes. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop personalizing other people's behavior, and you stop allowing temporary emotions to cause permanent damage. You begin to understand that calmness is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that your reaction can either elevate a situation or destroy it. You recognize that silence is not surrender, it's strategy. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you're not suppressing your emotions, you're mastering them, because emotions are powerful forces. They can build or break, heal or harm. When you learn to channel them rather than be consumed by them, you become unshakable. Emotional control doesn't mean you don't feel deeply. In fact, it means you feel everything, but you've learned how to respond with intention instead of impulse. You understand that the strongest people are not those who shout the loudest or react the fastest. They are the ones who can remain steady when everyone else loses balance. You become the person who listens more than you argue, observes more than you accuse, and moves with quiet confidence instead of loud chaos. Because when you can stand still in the middle of emotional storms, you start to attract peace, respect, and stability. People begin to trust your energy, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. And that consistency, that calmness under pressure, becomes your silent advantage. There comes a time when you have to stop asking why things didn't work out and start asking what they were trying to teach you. Growth doesn't happen when life is easy or when everyone is choosing you. It happens in silence, in loss, in rebuilding. Focusing on your growth means shifting your attention from what left to what's waiting to be discovered within you. It's realizing that the end of something isn't the end of you. It's the beginning of who you're meant to become. Most people stay stuck because they keep replaying the same story in their mind, the betrayal, the rejection, the heartbreak, hoping that somehow understanding it deeper will bring peace. But peace doesn't come from analyzing pain. It comes from outgrowing it. When you focus on growth, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the creator of your next chapter. Growth isn't glamorous. It's not the highlight reel you post online. It's the quiet discipline behind closed doors. It's waking up early when no one's watching, pushing yourself to learn new things, and doing the hard work of facing your patterns. It's those moments when you feel tired but still choose to show up for yourself. Growth requires honesty, the kind that makes you uncomfortable. You have to face your flaws without shame, your habits without excuses, and your fears without running away. You have to ask yourself who you've been, who you are, and who you want to become. The truth is, growth happens the moment you stop blaming others and start taking full responsibility for your healing. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about proving to yourself that you can rise again. When you focus on your growth, you learn to detach from what no longer aligns with the person you're becoming. You start noticing how certain conversations drain you, how some environments no longer feel right, how certain people only keep you stuck in old versions of yourself, and you begin to outgrow them, not out of anger, but out of clarity. You stop chasing attention and start chasing purpose. You begin to understand that not everyone who started with you is meant to finish with you, and that's okay. Growth often feels lonely because elevation requires separation. But in that loneliness, something powerful happens. You start hearing your own voice again. You start trusting your intuition, setting boundaries, and valuing your time in ways you never did before. The more you focus on your growth, the more you realize that external validation can't sustain you. No compliment, no relationship, no status can replace the confidence that comes from keeping promises to yourself. Every small improvement, every moment of self-discipline builds quiet confidence inside you. You stop seeking shortcuts because you understand that real growth takes time. You become patient with your journey because you realize that rushing results only delays transformation. Growth is not about becoming someone new. It's about becoming more of who you truly are beneath all the noise, pain, and expectations. It's peeling away everything that was never really you and standing firm in your authenticity. You start to take pride not in being perfect, but in being persistent, in showing up, in learning, in trying again. Because growth doesn't demand perfection, it demands progress, consistency, and the willingness to evolve even when no one notices. There's something powerful about a person who walks away with grace instead of anger, someone who knows their worth so deeply that they don't have to shout, argue, or beg to be understood. Respect creates remembrance because it leaves a mark far deeper than revenge ever could. When you choose dignity in moments that test your patience, when you choose silence instead of chaos, when you choose composure over reaction, you're showing the world a level of maturity that few ever reach. People may forget your words, they may forget what you did for them, but they never forget how you carried yourself when things fell apart. Respect has a way of echoing long after your presence fades, because it's rare. It's the quiet power of walking away without bitterness, of standing tall even when you could have lowered yourself to prove a point. Respect isn't about how you treat others when they treat you well. It's about how you carry yourself when they don't. It's easy to be kind when life feels good, but true strength shows when you choose decency while feeling disappointed, when you maintain boundaries without losing compassion, and when you refuse to let disrespect pull you out of character. Every time you respond with integrity, you remind yourself that you are not defined by how others act. You are defined by how you choose to respond. That's what makes respect unforgettable. It reflects self-awareness, discipline, and a strong sense of inner worth. When you respect yourself enough to walk away from people and situations that no longer value you, You send a message that lingers long after you're gone, that your presence was never to be taken for granted. There's a quiet kind of power in restraint. Most people think respect means allowing others to treat you however they want, but it's the opposite. It means knowing when to step back and preserve your peace. It's not weakness to withdraw, it's wisdom. When you stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you, when you stop arguing to prove a truth they're not ready to see, you create a silence that speaks louder than words ever could. That silence becomes memory. People remember the one who didn't react with bitterness. They remember the one who left respectfully. They remember the one who could have exposed, humiliated, or retaliated, but chose peace instead. Because respect doesn't demand attention, it naturally commands it. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, you inspire others to treat you differently, or not at all. You start to see that respect isn't given. It's earned through consistency and restraint. You begin to value peace over pride, growth over validation, and boundaries over attachments. The people who once took you for granted eventually replay their moments with you, not because of what you said, but because of how you handled what they gave you. They remember the calmness, the poise, the way you didn't fight for their approval, but for your own self-respect. That's how respect creates remembrance, not through noise, not through confrontation, but through the silent reminder that you were never desperate for recognition. You were simply grounded in your worth, and that is something no one ever forgets. You can say all the right words, post all the right pictures, and wear the right expressions, but energy always tells the truth. People might not understand why they feel a certain way around you, but they feel it. They feel when your smile is forced, when your confidence is real, when your presence is grounded, or when it's desperate. Energy never lies because it comes from a place deeper than appearance. It's the reflection of your inner state. You can't fake peace, you can't disguise tension, and you can't hide insecurity for long. What you carry inside eventually leaks through in how you talk, how you move, and how you make others feel. That's why healing, growth, and self-respect are not just private work. They change your entire aura. When your energy is aligned, your presence speaks louder than your words ever could. When you elevate your energy, everything around you begins to shift. The same people who once overlooked you start to notice the change without you saying a word. It's not magic, it's alignment. You stopped chasing what wasn't meant for you. You stopped forcing conversations that drained you, and you stopped begging to be understood. That withdrawal created space for calm, and calmness has its own frequency. It draws in what matches it and repels what doesn't. That's why when you start focusing on your peace, you'll notice certain people fall away. They don't resonate with your new energy because their connection was built on your chaos. The moment you outgrow confusion, their access to you naturally fades. It's not rejection, it's energetic separation. Energy never lies because it's not filtered through words or intentions. It's raw truth. You can tell when someone's pretending to care, when someone's forcing a connection, or when someone's just saying what they think you want to hear. You feel it. Your intuition is your body recognizing that their energy doesn't match their expression. And just the same way, others feel it when your actions and emotions are in harmony. When you walk into a room with peace in your spirit, it settles the space. When you speak with clarity instead of defensiveness, it commands quiet attention. When your confidence comes from self-awareness instead of arrogance, it creates respect without effort. That's the power of energy. It can't be bought, it can't be copied, and it can't be hidden. Your energy reflects how well you know yourself. When you're living in alignment, doing what fulfills you, keeping promises to yourself, protecting your peace, your energy becomes magnetic. It attracts opportunities, people, and experiences that match your frequency. But when your energy is scattered, needy, or inconsistent, it attracts the same instability back. Life mirrors your vibration. That's why trying to change your outer world without fixing your inner world never works. You can't find peace in your relationships if you don't have it within yourself. You can't create trust when your energy carries doubt. You can't attract genuine love if your energy is rooted in fear of being alone. Everything starts within because energy is the language of truth. When you shift your energy, the world has no choice but to respond differently. When she comes back, the first thing your heart will want to do is rush to pick up where things left off, to fill the silence with explanations, to show her that you've still been waiting. That's the emotional impulse, the part of you that still remembers how it felt to be chosen, how it felt to be seen. But that's not what she needs to feel anymore. When she returns, don't act the same. Don't fall back into the version of yourself that begged for her attention or accepted less than you deserved just to keep her close. The man you've become during the silence, during the distance, during the pain, that's the version she needs to meet now. Because if she returns and finds the same you she walked away from, she'll remember exactly why she left in the first place. The truth is, most people don't expect you to change. They expect to find you stuck where they left you, waiting, hoping, rehearsing the same conversations in your head. But real power comes when you no longer need closure, validation, or recognition to move forward. You've already healed what broke you. You've already faced your weaknesses, your mistakes, your emotions, and you've learned how to stand on your own again. So when she reappears, don't let nostalgia pull you back into old habits. Don't become available at her convenience or bend your boundaries just because you miss her presence. Let her see that distance didn't destroy you. It refined you. You've grown quieter, more selective, more confident. You're no longer seeking comfort in what's familiar. You're seeking alignment in what's right. When she returns, observe her actions more than her words. Watch her energy, her effort, her consistency. Anyone can say they miss you, but few can show they've changed. You owe it to yourself not to rush into the same patterns that once drained you. This isn't about holding grudges. It's about holding standards. You've spent time building yourself back up, and now your peace is priceless, protected. When she reaches out, don't respond from your wounds. Respond from your growth. Speak with calm, not with resentment. Set boundaries without bitterness. If she truly values the person you've become, she'll respect the pace you move at. If she doesn't, her actions will expose that. Either way, you remain centered. Remember, attraction isn't about proving you've changed. It's about embodying it. The energy you carry will tell her everything she needs to know. When she sees that your happiness no longer depends on her, it shifts the entire dynamic. You've stopped needing her to choose you because you've already chosen yourself. And that's the kind of energy that draws genuine connection, not desperation, not persuasion, but quiet strength. When she returns, don't act like the man who once feared losing her. Act like the man who found himself in the process. Because the truth is, if she's coming back, she's already felt your absence. Now let her feel the difference your growth has made.